Antlers, assumptions, and artillery. You feel better? Bjorn asked Holly. Everyone else had gone to sleep, but Holly just hadn't gone down. She was out in the garden and leaning on the railing, looking out to the cold world of Zalwar beneath a night sky full of stars so bright that it resembles more an art piece. The fact that the undaunted arcology had all its lights pointed upwards as thin beams that due to axiom didn't spill and pollute the sky, while also warning aircraft was interesting. He went cross-eyed when the sheer amount of math involved in that nonsense was shown to him. A little, it's so strange, she mutters, looking out and over. What's strange about it? It feels like a monster, like something that even just looking at it means you'll get something bitten off. But when I actually face it, it seems to just turn away, like it's afraid of me, Holly says, and Bjorn lets out a pensive sound. A lot of things are a lot easier than people think. Often the hardest part is starting, Bjorn says. But it is just starting, Holly says. This is going to take a long time to do anything real about it. Big problems are often that way because they're just that big of a messed up knot, Bjorn remarks as he stands beside her. She pulls him close. I can have a family, Holly says after a little. Yes, you could always have a family. No, you don't get it. Carib, we're herd girls. I can have a family. You're my stallion, and the other girls are the start of a proper herd. Families need to be big so there's always strength. Small ones wither away so easily. They need to be big, Holly explains. Does this mean that there's going to be more girls in the bed? Bjorn asks in an amused tone. Yes it does. We will have a full herd. I will be its head mare and I will keep it safe. I will keep us safe. One step at a time, big girl, Bjorn suggests, even as his mind chews on the idea. He had been one of the many people who had cracked jokes and wondered about the logistics of Herbert suddenly getting married to 100 different girls. If we go all out in it, we'll have to build our own arcology just for family in a few generations, especially if all the girls come out as strong as you are. I don't think they'll all be muscleheads like me, Holly says with a laugh. Wrong kind of strength. It's been less than a year, and you're already wrestling your nightmares into the ground. I don't think I could do that, and I've been trained to fight whole worlds if I have to, Bjorn confesses, and Holly turns a little to kiss him. You made me this strong. You kept me safe until I was able to fight back. You gave me every bit of space I needed without ever being out of reach. Called it duty the whole time. If that's undaunted duty, then you're a dedicated army of perfect lovers, Holly says before joking a little. Considering how well we've been doing, that might not be far off, Bjorn says in an amused tone. Well, galaxy's overdue for something like that then. After all the different kinds of pirates, slavers, monsters, and would-be goddesses of twisted desire, an army of super lovers is a relief. You will never convince me that there isn't an entire genre of porn dedicated to this, Bjorn jokes, and Holly snorts hard before devolving into helpless laughter. Bjorn chuckles ruefully as he wipes the snot off his cheek and flicks it over the railing. Sorry, you caught me off guard with that, Holly giggles as she helps get a bit he missed. Victory is mine. You'll forgive me if I skip the dance. Bjorn comments he sees Martha emerge from inside the arcology out of the corner of his eye, but all he does is give her a slight wave that Holly misses as she takes on a considering pose. A dance? That sounds wonderful. Care to join me? Holly asks, holding out her hand to him. He takes it and she pulls him into a slow-turning dance. There's a pause for a moment as she spots her mother, communicator out and eagerly recording, then shrugs and turns back to Bjorn. Carib dancing is almost Spanish in style, but there's no twirling. Lots of sliding to skid around on the hooves and the occasional stomp. But the antlers get in the way of a fair number of moves. Normally it's fast and energetic, but tonight it's slow, deliberate, close. This would probably be more romantic if we weren't in our pajamas, Bjorn notes, and Holly laughs a little. No, I suppose the loose flannel on me and the baggy pants and baggier hoodie on you doesn't compare to our club wear, Holly says somewhat sardonically. Comfy though, Bjorn remarks. So anything you're allowed to tell us? Private Stream asks as Dr. Mariko emerges from her newest patient's apartment. I am going to personally murder some people, Mariko growls out. Nice! Who? Why? Private Stream asks in a very amused tone. Not now, you menace, The city council and chief of police of Harpic Spire are at the very least criminally negligent, if not outright in the pocket of Dark Cabal remnants. Mariko grits out as she resists grinding her buck teeth to powder. Barely. Mariko, like most Lyrak, found herself easily falling into obsession. She had personally managed to twist it into a desire to help people and became a psychologist to steer that natural tendency into helping people live their best lives. But it also made her take things too personally at times. She takes a few breaths and centers herself. How bad? I can't tell you how bad she refused to fully open, but I can tell you that she was left out to dry by the unit she was a part of. And when she tried to get some kind of compensation, she was blocked at every turn. To be honest, I'm shocked the woman is as put together as she is. She's been sitting on this infested heap of a rotting nightmare for 10 years with no one and nothing. She's depressed with the occasional suicidal episode, severe post-traumatic stress disorder, intense loneliness and abandonment issues, immense paranoia, and that's just getting started. She opened up that much? No, but if you know what you're doing, you can infer a great deal by what people don't say. Body language and axiom presence too, especially the axiom. I can understand most people as if they were openly declaring their every thought and feeling after just a few moments of conversation. Humans are annoying in that regard as their weird brains scramble the signal, but their facial expressions and body language more than make up for it. Mariko says, not mentioning that whatever is going on with the private stream uniforms, they also scramble the axiom presence to hide what they're feeling. So what's the verdict, Doc? What are we doing with her? Private Stream asks, and Mariko sighs before considering. I suggest we offer citizenship so she gets free visits from me and my colleagues. When she has her head on straight, she'll at least have basic training for weapons, armor, and infiltration. That's more than what you guys ask for in other people, Mariko says, and Private Stream nods before pausing. Light duty at first if she signs up. She'll need time to get back into the groove of things. And that's a long while away. Paperwork until she's done with you. Safe and dull so she can center herself, Private Stream says. Yes, that's the best idea, and... Mariko begins before turning right before the door opens, and Jesser pokes her nose out. Even on all fours, she's a little taller than Private Stream. She regards him fully with a hint of fire in her eyes. There are tracks where tears had streaked down her muzzle. Yes, can I help you, Miss Fuzzy Lady? Private Stream asks after a few moments of her staring at him and breathing deeply. If I sign up for the Undaunted, will you tell me what happened? Everything? From top to bottom? She demands, grabbing onto Private Stream's shoulders and slowly rising up while holding him to lift him off the ground by several feet as she asks him. My handler is saying that depends on you, Private Stream says, and she leans in to sniff at him before nudging off the hat. He doesn't change. She has the original flavor of Herbert. She examines the device in his ear and nods. And what does your handler mean by that Mr. Mouthpiece for someone else? Oh, I've got plenty to say for myself. They just do my research for me. Herbert says in a deeper, more adult voice before he's suddenly intangible and lands with ease. A touch of telekinesis and the hat slaps into his hand again, and he affixes it back into place. I would also be your superior officer should you sign up for the intelligence division, and I can tell you here and now that you will only be trusted with the information pertaining to the case when you can convince us you won't run off to get yourself killed or let the information slip in some misguided attempt at revenge. So the big bosses of the Undaunted go out onto the field? Jasir asks after a moment. When we can get away from the paperwork. Sadly, some of us can't fully do that, even with the magic of delegation. Wait, you're the Grand Patriarch of the Jalek birds, Jesser says, suddenly placing where she had seen him before. I am. A huntsmaster. Basically. You could have folded me like paper. You're depressed, out of shape, and rusty. A toddler has good odds on you, Herbert says, and Mariko smacks him in the side of the head. He catches his hat as it goes flying off and puts it back on. All right, fine. I deserve that. What happened to your tact? Mariko demands him. Right now, she needs to hear something that isn't white noise or easily ignored. And a raging jackass that's a punnable size and in kicking range qualifies, Herbert says. You thought I'd kick you? Even if you didn't look and smell like a child, You're a grand patriarch and huntsmaster, Jasir protests. So? If I'm a dickhead, I still deserve a boot to it. What? Jasir asks. Never mind, look, you want to be trusted with the information we have? Show us you are of sound mind, which you will get by having a psychologist clear you. Herbert says, my life and family was destroyed by, and others will be ripped apart if we just give the information out, Herbert snaps. We're actively opposing Dark Cabal interests. When they were shattered, they didn't die. The stupid and ineffective were merely culled, and the survivors grew to be more dangerous. If I give you even a quarter-full dossier on what we know, you could get dozens of people captured like you were. My people, I will topple spires before I leave them to rot. Jasir's eyes widen, and she looks around in shock. Then is it safe to even talk about? The building has been swept, and I have posted guards. We're in the clear, he says, and she stares at him. What do you think I was doing when you were talking to the good doctor? I swept the building twice myself, called in a few friends to do it a third time, and they're now standing guard to make sure the place stays clean while we talk. How? I'm undaunted. One of the best. Not because I started out as the best, but because I was made into the best. And if you join us, you'll be put through the training too. Herbert says, and something shifts in Jesser's frame as she takes a step back and lowers herself to all fours again to look him right in the eyes. There's something burning there, something glimmering in her eyes. Do you promise? She asks him. Standard procedure. The life-changing miracles that shift the lives of others are the day-to-day dealings we do. Herbert states, and Mariko gives him a disappointed look. You're supposed to be helping, not recruiting. Recruiting is helping. Herbert dismisses, and she glares at him. You are not putting this girl through any of your insane training regimens or downloads or anything of the sort until she is mentally stable. Shouldn't that be my choice? Jasir asks. Yes and no. In your mental state, you won't be doing anything exciting until you have a clear bill of health from the psychologist. Herbert states. Okay, fine. I need to know what happened. Where do I sign up? She asks, and Herbert holds out his hand for her to take.